How concerned will the king be about this and all the allegations?
It would be astonishing if he wasn't concerned.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor had the kind of life people binge watch on Netflix. Royal palaces, staff everywhere, and privilege basically built into his daily routine. Known as the Queen's favorite son, he grew up surrounded by luxury most people can't even imagine. But behind all that glossy royal image, someone who knew him way before the scandals says the early signs were already there, and we're talking nursery years. Now, this wasn't the kind of behavior you could quietly brush aside. It stood out, and people noticed. But here's where it gets interesting. It didn't come from some random gossip page or a royal critic trying to stir drama. This came from inside the palace itself. His own nanny, Mabel Anderson, spoke about it, and she wasn't just passing through. Mabel Anderson practically raised generations of royals. King Charles, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and Prince Edward all came through her care. She lived to 100, stayed closely connected to the royal family for decades, and built a reputation that carried serious weight. This wasn't someone making guesses. She saw it all up close. King Charles even made a point to visit her personally on her 100th birthday, bringing the official royal telegram and sitting down for tea like it was the most natural thing in the world. But way before that sweet, respectful moment, things with Andrew weren't exactly smooth or easy behind the scenes. She stayed connected to the royal family for decades, which gave anything she said real weight. This wasn't casual talk, this was insider history. King Charles even showed her serious respect later on, reportedly visiting her in person for her 100th birthday, bringing the official royal telegram and sitting down for tea like it was a regular afternoon. That kind of gesture says a lot about how highly she was regarded. But long before that sweet, picture-perfect moment, her time dealing with Andrew wasn't exactly peaceful. Reports mentioned in the Daily Mail and Nigel Hawthorne's book Prince Andrew, The End of the Monarchy and Epstein say Anderson once joked that the nursery could barely contain him, and that's not something you say lightly about a royal child. She even gave the young prince a nickname based on how he behaved, and let's just say it wasn't exactly flattering. She called him the young MP, and at times took it a step further, calling him Baby Grumblings. Those nicknames didn't just appear out of nowhere, they were tied directly to his constant temper, stubborn attitude, and the way he carried himself even as a child. According to Anderson's later stories, the young prince always seemed to be stirring something up around the palace. It might sound minor on the surface, but behind those grand palace walls, it created more tension than people would expect. In one moment, he allegedly took apart his nanny's radio, pulling out all the valves and leaving it completely useless, like a curious kid who didn't know when to stop. Another time, he reportedly tied together the shoelaces of palace staff, which might sound like a quick laugh, but could have gone very wrong if someone had taken a bad fall. And then there's one of the more unusual claims. Andrew supposedly put itching powder into Queen Elizabeth's bed inside Buckingham Palace, which takes things to a whole different level. That's not just playful mischief, that's the kind of behavior that makes people pause and look twice. Even back then, it had staff talking and quietly raising eyebrows behind those palace walls. Anderson later remembered a moment when the Queen herself reacted after one particularly frustrating situation.
Great to have you. There are, of course, reports today accusing Andrew Mountbatten Windsor of sharing another official document with one of his business contacts, but we've seen a week of negative headlines and revelations. How concerned will the king be about this and all the allegations?
It would be astonishing if he wasn't concerned.
Reports say she admitted, with clear irritation, that Andrew is not always a little ray of sunshine about the home. It's a short comment, but it carries weight, and looking back now, it hits very differently. Even during those early years, the difference between Andrew and his siblings was already becoming clear. Charles and Anne, for example, were born before their mother became queen in 1952, so they experienced a more grounded and structured upbringing before royal life went into full intensity. There was less spotlight, less pressure, and more of a traditional rhythm to their childhood. Andrew, on the other hand, was born into a completely different reality. By the time he arrived, Elizabeth was already firmly on the throne and the monarchy was in full swing. From day one, he was surrounded by constant attention, greater luxury, and a level of royal treatment that naturally set him apart, and people around him noticed that shift early on. According to accounts mentioned in Hawthorne's book, Andrew didn't just have one nursery, he had access to 7 different nurseries spread across multiple royal palaces. 7! That's not childcare, that's a full network. It's the kind of privilege that's hard to even picture without pausing for a second. Staff were constantly around, catering to whatever he needed, creating an environment that felt worlds away from what Charles and Anne experienced growing up.
By the allegations and, of course, affected in his role as monarch as well, because the headlines are all about this, which, no institution wants.
As he got older, Andrew was sent to Heatherdown School in Ascot, a traditional prep school known for educating children from elite families. From there, he moved on to Gordonston in Scotland, the same tough, no-nonsense school King Charles had attended. But where Charles reportedly struggled with the harsh environment, Andrew seemed to settle in quickly. No major issues, no dramatic adjustment period. He handled it like it was just another step in the routine. After finishing school, he stepped into a completely different phase by joining the Royal Navy and training as a helicopter pilot. That was a big shift from the mischievous kid people remembered. Suddenly, there was structure, discipline, and a clear sense of purpose. His military career started reshaping how the public saw him, giving him a more serious and focused image. Then came 1982 and the Falklands War, where Andrew flew helicopter missions for the Royal Navy. That moment earned him real respect across Britain. It wasn't just status anymore, it was service. By the 1980s, his popularity had taken off, with many people calling him one of the monarchy's most charismatic figures. But looking back now, that image didn't exactly stick, and the shift in how people see him today is hard to ignore. Everything looks completely different now. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is living almost entirely out of the royal spotlight. No grand entrances, no balcony waves, no carefully staged public moments. Just a quiet, noticeable absence that speaks volumes. His own brother, King Charles, had already made a major move by stripping him of his military titles and royal patronages after the controversy tied to Jeffrey Epstein, and that alone reshaped how the public saw him almost overnight. But recently, things have taken an even more serious and complicated turn. Reports claim that around the time of his 66th birthday, Andrew was arrested at a residence on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk. That detail alone sounds like something straight out of a dramatic headline. According to Thames Valley Police, the arrest was made on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and that phrase immediately got people talking. It's not a minor issue, it's the kind of allegation that brings a wave of questions with it. The investigation is said to focus on claims that Andrew may have shared sensitive information during his time as the UK's trade envoy between 2001 and 2011. That role once positioned him as a key figure representing Britain on the global stage. So now people are looking back at that period with a completely different lens. Police confirmed that a man in his 60s from Norfolk was detained, questioned for hours, and then released under investigation. That one detail alone was enough to grab attention because it pointed in a direction without fully spelling everything out. In an official statement released on February 19, 2023, Thames Valley Police confirmed they carried out searches connected to the case in Norfolk, and those searches have now been completed. Andrew reportedly spent around 11 hours in custody before being released, which only added more intensity to the situation and kept people watching closely. And even now, this situation is far from finished. The investigation is still ongoing, and the full details about what may have been shared or whether anything was actually shared at all remain unclear. However, reports suggest authorities are carefully examining communications between Andrew and individuals connected to Epstein during his time representing Britain abroad. And if that trail leads anywhere significant, this story could go much deeper.
For many royal watchers, that arrest didn't feel like just another headline sliding across the news. It felt like a turning point in Andrew's long, very public fall from favor. This was once the man seen as Queen Elizabeth's favorite son, living comfortably in the massive royal lodge in Windsor, showing up at major royal events like it was just part of the routine. Back then, his presence was expected. Now, everything looks completely different. Andrew has reportedly been moved out of Royal Lodge and relocated to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, a much smaller, far more low-key property that was once used by Prince Philip during his retirement. That's not just a change of address, it's a clear shift in status. The contrast is hard to miss. These days, he doesn't carry out royal duties, doesn't appear at official engagements, and is rarely seen at public family gatherings. It's a sharp drop from the life he used to live, and people are definitely noticing. Behind the scenes, there's even been quiet talk about his place in the royal line of succession. Some commentators have suggested he could be removed entirely. Nothing official, but the conversation alone says a lot about where things stand.
At the same time, King Charles is continuing to reshape the monarchy, focusing on a smaller, more controlled group of working royals. It's a clear strategy, and Andrew is no longer part of that inner circle. No announcements needed. The shift speaks for itself. Interestingly, right in the middle of all this, King Charles still made time for someone from the royal family's past, and that detail stands out. Shortly after headlines about Andrew started circulating, Charles visited Mabel Anderson to celebrate her 100th birthday, keeping a promise he had reportedly made years earlier. According to reports in the Telegraph, the visit was calm and personal. The two sat down for tea while Charles handed over the traditional telegram given to people in Britain who reach 100. No big spectacle, no grand moment, just a quiet, meaningful visit that showed how deeply Anderson remained connected to the royal circle after all those years. But here's where things take an even more interesting turn. Anderson wasn't just some former staff member with a few distant memories. She helped raise the royal children, including Andrew himself. That puts her in a completely different category. And now, the stories she shared years ago are getting a whole new level of attention. Royal watchers are digging them back up, looking at them differently, and suddenly, they don't sound so harmless anymore. What once came across as playful mischief, like tying shoelaces together in palace corridors, now feels a bit more telling. Less kids being kids and more early hints of a stubborn, difficult streak that people may have overlooked at the time. Of course, childhood stories don't define a person's entire life. That part matters. But when those stories come from someone who spent years inside the royal household, caring for the Queen's children day in and day out, people are going to listen, and they're going to take it seriously. Looking back now, those small nursery moments are being viewed through a completely different lens, and that shift is hard to ignore. Even the nickname she gave him, the young MP, has grabbed attention all over again. It's short, a little sharp, and clearly stuck with people for a reason. It adds a whole new layer to a story that already feels hard to process, from being seen as the Queen's favorite son to living on the outside of royal life. That's not a small change, that's a full transformation in how he's viewed. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's journey has taken turns that few people could have predicted back when he was just a mischievous kid running through palace halls. And now it raises a bigger question. When insiders like former nannies speak up, are they giving a rare, honest glimpse into what these personalities were really like behind closed doors? Before we wrap up, I'm curious about a few things. What stood out to you the most in this story? Do you think those early childhood stories actually say something real about who Andrew became later on, or are people reading too much into them now? And how much weight do you think insiders like Mabel Anderson should carry when they speak on what happened behind palace walls? Now, I want to hear from you. Seriously, drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to hear your opinion on this, and I genuinely appreciate you taking the time to share it. Thanks for watching all the way through. It really means a lot. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who follows royal stories, and subscribe to Crown L so you don't miss what's coming next. And trust me, there's a lot more where this came from. You'll definitely want to check out the next video on the channel. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.